If you've recently heard of robotic affirming and you want to know what that's all about, or you've heard of robotic affirming before and you want to figure out if it's for you. If so, keep watching. Hey legends, this is I Am Manifestation. I'm your conscious manifestation coach, Cerise, and I help you get out of your own way so you can manifest your version of an awesome fucking life. Can you see how much I have to concentrate to get my mouth around my own name? So there's one particular law of assumption or conscious manifestation teacher or coach on YouTube that most people will probably know. And they talk all about robotic affirming. I believe they're the first person I ever heard talk about it. It's something that they make a lot of videos on. It's their preferred way of consciously manifesting. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that now. So essentially, robotic affirming is just affirming out loud, but it could also be in your mind. A few affirmations, like max 5 affirmations. This particular coach talks about how they usually only have like 1 or 2. And doing those whilst you're doing other things and not really putting a lot of concentration into what you're saying, what you're affirming, right? Because every thought that you linger on enough is essentially an affirmation. Now, just to like straight off the bat, can robotic affirming work? Yes, it can. Okay. But I just want to go into a little bit of nuance with that answer, as I mean, I often do even when I come on here and say, this is going to be a quick, short and concise video, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later. So essentially, not everything works for everyone because everyone's minds work differently. Everyone absorbs information differently. Everyone has different previous experiences that have not only programmed their minds, but also their nervous systems. And I talk a lot about how just because law of assumption talks a lot about the mindset piece, the thought piece of conscious manifestation, which I came to understand from like how neuroscience works right up here. But your nervous system is actually part of neuroscience. That's why I talk about it as a whole. Not only that, but obviously, as I've spoken about in previous videos, if you've followed me for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about how I hit the wall by only doing the mindset piece because I wasn't addressing the out of whack nervous system that I had at the time, which is why I talk a lot about my cheat codes, which are nervous system regulation work, self-concept work, I am affirmations, yes, about yourself, sure, but also treating yourself how you want to be treated and feel good things, doing things you enjoy that are unrelated to your manifestation. Also, just a little segue, since I'm talking about it, the Manifestation Cheat Code Academy membership waitlist is in the description below. The content, including the workshops and all the other things, are pretty much ready for the first few months because I will be using a lot of what I was initially going to use for the Solid Self-Concept course. So if you are on the Solid Self-Concept course waitlist, you're automatically on the Cheat Code Academy waitlist. So don't stress. I'll be making a video after this actually to post later in the week about why I made the change and go into all those details there. But if you're on the waitlist, essentially you'll get not just 50% off your first month, you'll get 50% off for the whole time you choose to remain a member, but you can also cancel at any time. So this particular teacher that talks about robotic affirming, just going off what I've heard her talk about in her older videos that I used to watch a lot more about her own experience, she said that growing up, she was brought up with the belief that you can speak things into existence. So before she kind of found what really works for her, which is what she teaches, which is totally fine. I'm not shitting on it. From what I can tell, it's been very successful for her in her life. But again, everyone's different. Everyone has different experiences. Everyone has different beliefs that were formed in their upbringings and in their previous experiences in life, which is all, anything you see, hear, think, and say enough times is programming your mind and your belief systems, as well as I learned the hard way, your nervous system. So when you kind of grow up with the belief that you can do something like that or be anything you want, it might be a lot easier for you to just robotically affirm without being attached to the outcome, or just have more of a belief that it'll work, that that the law is a thing, that conscious manifestation is a thing, and yeah, it'll work. But for a lot of people who do have that out of whack nervous system, particularly if it's like from a recent thing, or you feel particularly anxious or heightened in regard to your manifestation, the robotic affirming can actually just exacerbate how out of whack your nervous system is, create more anxiety, create more attachment to the how, and all of those things that really can often, for a lot of people, push the manifestation a little bit further out more and more. Again, the cheat codes really help with that. Naturally, it sounds like you're adding more things to your practice, when it was probably a relief to hear that all you had to do was think in line with already having the thing you want. And I get that, but it actually makes the thought piece so much easier. I found relief in hearing that it was my most consistent thoughts and subconscious beliefs that manifested when I first came across the law of assumption as well, because the law of attraction kind of made it sound like you have to feel good to manifest and you have to feel good all the time, otherwise it won't manifest. And that's not the case. But oftentimes, if your nervous system's really out of whack, you're anxious, you're frustrated, you're in that control mode, wanting to micromanage things, don't trust the middle, finding it hard to manifest or live from the end, and feeling a need to manifest in steps. When you're in that state, for a lot of people, you will find that you end up in a situation like I did, where you hit that wall, you get burnt out, you get unwell physically and or mentally. I won't go into that story here because I've done it, gone into my personal experience with that in many other videos. And, or sometimes because you're coming at it from that state, your doubt is still far outweighing your belief, even though you don't have to 100% believe, right? I always say you don't actually have to believe it all. You just have to not disbelieve. You were born into this world more ready to believe things, but whatever you've kind of grown up with or experienced up till the point of wanting this thing and not being able to have it or hold on to it has created a dam of disbelief and opposing thoughts that's stopping the flow of that thing that you want coming in, that you're inherently worthy of, just because you're here existing, right? So it's more about chipping away at the disbelief than making yourself believe. But when you have an out of whack nervous system, you're most likely coming at it from this fear of like, what if it doesn't work? What if I look stupid? I need this thing because I want it to make me feel this way, or it made me feel this way in the past, so I want it back or them back, whatever. And that desperation, that place of desperation, whilst you can totally manifest through that, if you don't get burnt out or unwell physically and or mentally, or build up so much doubt that you give up first, then you're still in that physiological state of not being able to have it or hold on to it. So you will self-sabotage it. And I want you to get to a state where you feel cool, calm, collected, so you're not stressing as much about the time and coming at it from that anxious place, and programming your physiology and your mind, your belief system, to trust that you can have the thing you want, that it's safe to have the thing you want when you get it, and to not have that fear of like, what if I lose it, right? And to have other things going on so that you're not putting all the pressure on this one thing or person or situation to be your sole source of happiness. So when it comes to robotic affirming, bringing it back to the point, a lot of people might find that it works fine, but they might find that if they have had those experiences that I often talk about, hardships, heartbreaks, traumas, or childhoods that have really programmed a deep belief of not being able to have or maintain, sustain things, right? Then it might not be a sustainable manifestation. If you're coming at it from a really out of whack nervous system or those types of backgrounds, you might not get the thing before you either choose to give up because of the doubt or are forced to give up because you have to focus on yourself. Now, I did find that when I got to that point, that things started to move because I had to focus on myself. And in doing that, things started flowing, because it's really what you fill your own cup with that overflows and projects out into your world. But I don't want you to get to that point because it was fucking awful. It was fucking awful. And what usually happens when you hit that wall where you crash, where your nervous system gets burnt out, you are no longer anxious because your body doesn't have the energy to be anxious anymore. It wants to conserve energy, and then you get really low. And what happens with that low energy is also a low mood, low thoughts, for some pretty bad depression. Okay, so I don't want you to get there. Wouldn't you rather wait a little bit longer for the thing, person, or situation you want, and know that you are in a better place in yourself, that you're less likely to self-sabotage it? And even if things do seem to like show up here and there that would have triggered you in the past, you're not that triggered, so you don't self-sabotage or react or get fearful again that you're not going to be able to have it, and come at it from more of a place of like, if that is how it ended up going, it would be their loss, or something better would come along. And I'm not saying like this or something better, but I'm just saying when you get to that kind of mentality about yourself and then come at it from that cool, calm, collected place where you feel like, let's use the person example. If you're sort of thinking it's their loss, then they're receiving your thoughts as their own ideas, right? Thought transmission is always happening. You're always manifesting. So if you're thinking, oh, well, it would be their loss if that's what ended up happening from this situation, they're getting the thoughts of like, I would be really fucking missing out if I fuck this up with this person, or if I, give up on them because of this one little thing that you might be panicking about. But again, the cheat codes will help you get to a point where you're not panicking as much about the things that you might have done in the past and then thought, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that, and ruminate on it, right? I've been there. I've literally been like sick to my stomach for weeks because I've said something that I've been concerned might have offended someone who I cared about, or cared what they thought about me. I don't really have that problem anymore. Like, I certainly am not going out of my way to offend people, but oftentimes we think we've offended people or fucked up or something like that when we haven't, when no one else has thought about it, and then we make it worse because we're ruminating on it. So a good way to kind of gauge where you're at is to figure out if you feel like you're anxiously robotic affirming, then I would definitely, I encourage you to do the cheat codes anyway. And yes, I have the cheat code membership. Again, the waitlist is in the description below if you want 50% off. It's no obligation to join. So if you're interested in checking out what it's all about, that's detailed on the waitlist. If you sign up, no obligation to join, but you will get a 50% off code for the entire time you decide to be a member, and you can cancel at any time. But I talk about what the cheat codes are on my free platforms, right? So the membership is more about getting like specific guidance from me, accountability from myself and the other people within the membership, the sense of community, because I know oftentimes being kind of a believer in conscious manifestation can be quite lonely when the people in your life and around you might not be on the same page as you. Or even, I have friends who believe in manifestation, but they think like law of assumption just sounds like too much for them because maybe they're not quite as analytical as I am. And I find analytical overthinking people tend to resonate with the law of assumption a lot more than law of attraction, even though they're essentially the same thing. They're just different manuals for the same thing for different types of minds. But yeah, so that sense of community and everything, plus there's a lot of other bonuses. So again, that's on the wait list. But I encourage you doing the nervous system regulation before you do robotic affirming, or if you've been doing the robotic affirming for a while and you know that you are anxious, then do the nervous system regulation work and see how you feel then when you're doing it. And if it does bring up that anxiety, then perhaps robotic affirming is not the tool for you for now, at least until you are at a more cool, calm, collected baseline. The person who is most well known for teaching the robotic affirming, she says that she doesn't do it all day, every day. And the reason she probably doesn't feel, and I'm making a guess, right, just from all the people that I've kind of coached and things like that and seeing how people are coming at their practices, what state they're in when carrying out their manifestation practice and everything, and listening to the parts of her story that she chooses to share, because she has had that belief from growing up that she can speak things into existence. I feel like this particular teacher can easily robotic affirm just as she's doing things, doing the housework or whatever for like, I think she talks about how she does it for like 10 minutes a day, usually. And she's probably just doing that from a place of like knowing that everything that she wants will work out. There's a lot of you, going off, again, my one-to-one clients, the people that I talk to and see questions from on my social medias, on my live streams and things like that. A lot of you will find that robotic affirming will actually exacerbate the anxiety that you already feel around your manifestation. So again, incorporating in nervous system regulation work, self-concept work, and feel good things, my cheat codes, and they will naturally help any tool that you choose or find easiest for you that maybe lines up with your learning style, whether you're an auditory learner, a visual learner, a kinetic learner, etc. You can find free quizzes online to figure out what your learning style is, and that can help you figure out whether you want to script or visualize and things like that. But ultimately, if you were in the state of having, you would not feel a need to obsessively affirm all day or robotically affirm all day. Not saying that all robotic affirming is obsessively affirming, because some people, like I said, like this teacher that is most well known for teaching it, I reckon when she's doing it, she's probably very cool, feels very cool, calm, collected about it, although she does talk about affirming with conviction. So again, remembering that your feelings are your guidance system, but your guidance system can get very thrown out of whack. Think of like a compass around a strong magnetic field is going to throw off the compass, right? And take you off track. So if your nervous system's out of whack, you can't always trust that what you're feeling is steering you towards or away from things in line with the most efficient route to your manifestation. That is demagnetizing your compass. I'm not sure if I've used that analogy correctly, because it's not like I'm out there using a compass to get anywhere. Again, getting your guidance system to a place where you can trust it a bit more, know when you're being turned away from things that are not part of the most efficient route to manifestation, even if it seems like the logical link, because manifestation isn't logical, and knowing when something feels good, that it's genuinely feeling good and not actually anxiety being mistaken for excitement, because they're two sides of the same coin, right? And then being able to trust a lot more which way you're being directed, being able to trust a lot more what tool works best for you, what you feel most at ease doing, what feels most empowering or most neutral, least resistant using to focus your thoughts. It's not the tools and techniques and methods that are manifesting, it's your most consistent thoughts and your subconscious beliefs. So it's really about finding a tool that is the most calming or most empowering for you, like the most neutral, right? Cool, calm, collected, calming, or the most empowering for you, as opposed to feeling resistant and like you're fighting against something to say your affirmations or visualize or whatever it is that your tool of choice is. So that's all I really have for this video. Thank you for being here. As always, you're a fucking legend. Don't you ever forget it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your interactions with my videos and my channel are what push my videos out to more people so I can help as many people as possible on a free platform. I've just hit over 500 subscribers, so thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. I really appreciate you being here. I hope that you get a lot of value out of my videos. I am on the road to 1,000. New webcam and new microphone, here we come. Again, thank you for being here. You're a fucking legend. Don't you ever forget it. And until next time, have a good one. Has that lens been dirty this whole time? Because this video looks a lot clearer than when I usually record. I mean, not dirty. I've had tape over the camera, and I think the residue of it, anyway. Whoops.